Hey, everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Widener Show, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention The Mike Widener Show, get 20% off your first project. SonicWeb Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of The Mike Widener Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews, and Eve Levin enjoys about how its celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes, Riley, and M&M's. So grab your copy today for Ghost Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out The Mike Widener Show at themikewidenershow.com, or over 40 podcast platforms heard in over 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple Music. Also heard on HamiltonRadio.net, Diamonds FM, Oldies Radio, and a few networks coming soon. Take The Mike Widener Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Widener Show on the YouTube channel. Follow The Mike Widener Show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out The Mike Widener Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, baseball gear. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com and check out The Mike Widener Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. I'll support The Mike Widener Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewidenershow.com. Make sure you give generously today. We're here with a terrific lady who is a founder and executive director of the Santa Clarita International Film Fest, or SCIFF. We'll talk about that. That's SCIFF. And it's known as the Hollywood North, and hosts a number of film and TV shoots in the LA County area, and also has launched last year the over 170 film screen, 50 international film show, 30 musical and comedy acts, and also a showcase gallery as well. And she graduated from Columbia University, attended the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and School for Film and TV. And she worked in the fashion industry, began acting on Off-Broadway in New York City, later involved in writing as well as directing, been in 25 product productions, and some have won awards. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Santa Clarita, the founder and executive of the Santa Clarita International Film Fest, or SCIFF, ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Lisa DeSouza. Lisa, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Mike. I really appreciate it, for giving me, and more importantly, giving SCIFF the air coverage that it needs. So really, really, really thank you so much.
Well, it's great to have on board, along with SCIFF as well, too. And we're looking forward to have you on in the future as well, too, with more film fests and film news and everything else. Of course, film festivals have become very popular among the circuit and podcasts and community events, and smaller stations and everything else, internet, social media, everything else. And you're the founder and executive director of the Santa Clarita International Film Fest, or SCIFF. Is known as Hollywood North, and you launched it last year. Over 170 films introduced, 50 international film show, 30 musical acts, 30 comedy acts, and a showcase gallery. You graduated from Columbia University, attended American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and also worked in the fashion industry. You began acting on Off-Broadway, and later involved in writing and directing. You've been involved in 25 productions. Some have won awards. And before we get into all that and talking about SCIFF, tell us how you first got started.
Well, as I said, I can't, I lived in New York many, many moons ago. You can't tell from obviously the video, but I'm on the taller side. So if you're tall and live in New York, you get drawn into fashion, and started there and realized that wasn't that photogenic. In those days, you weren't a model because you had, a bunch of followers. You were a model because you were really good in print. And, I was great on runway, wasn't that great in print. And so if you didn't really translate over to print that well, you really didn't have that much of a career. So I started actually looking at in New York, looking at theater. So started taking theater classes, started doing a lot of off-Broadway stuff. And through that process, really kind of realized a lot of times I'd get these scripts and I'd start rewriting them and, just for friends, or I would just say, I can do this better. And so I was actually at a theater company down in Tribeca. This is way before Tribeca became all shishi and bougie. And there were great theater companies down there. And one of the artistic directors actually said to me, he said, well, if you think you can do better, why don't you do it? And I actually ended up taking a couple of scenes from a screenplay that I was working on, put them together, put them in a showcase. And, back then in Tribeca, you had Miramax down the road. You had a lot of great artists that were down there. David Letterman used to test out a lot of his writers in some of these off-Broadway houses. And so I went up against him and it won. And I couldn't, that's kind of what started the whole process. Is I said, okay, well, I think I'm kind of on to something. And so, started writing a lot of off-Broadway stuff, but theater has no money in it. And I have, bills to pay. And while I was in fashion, actually, the CTO of one of the companies that I was working for at that time said, hey kid, if you want to really see where the future's at, it's on this thing called the web. Like you need to understand what, Facebook had just kind of sort of launched. They were, this upstart company coming out of Harvard. The e-commerce was still just finding its legs. And he said, content is going to be on the web. And he was very kind of visionary. And so I just started learning. I actually downshifted and I took an assistant job just so I could suck everything in that I could possibly learn and, realized that this was the future. And so I moved over to another job where I just got immersed in kind of digital media, committed that was my last job going to be in New York, was able to parlay a job out into Los Angeles, for kind of digital marketing. And that really took me on a 7-year hiatus, a little bit longer actually, away from the industry. And I started doing a lot of just kind of digital media content marketing for a lot of tech companies. Really found a great living that way. Fast forward a couple of years, I actually was looking to move out of the city. I was working remote way before the pandemic, before everyone else. And so I said, hey, I don't need to live in the city anymore. I don't need to commute. I don't need to pay these crazy, rents. So why don't I look for a house? And happened to find, this place out in Santa Clarita called Canyon Country, which is where I live, where it's really countryside in Los Angeles, which is, in my opinion, just beautiful. Like what's the possibility of having a countryside in Los Angeles, right? And so really big lots, ended up buying, a 2.5-acre ranch up in Santa Clarita. And I literally just came, I always say I came for horses and I found a home. But the creative artistic side of me started just coming out. And so I started writing again, mostly for, film and TV. Couldn't find a director to pick up my work because I was a nobody. And so I basically said, all right, you know what, I'm going to jump off a cliff and I'm going to do it myself. So I directed my first project. And then when I was up here, I said, well, as you mentioned, Santa Clarita is called the Hollywood North. It has the most productions that shoot up here in all of Los Angeles County. 60 to 70% of the people who live up here actually work in the industry, and they are your gaffers, your grips, your set designers, your lighting design, the people who actually move the industry, right? Live and work up here. A lot of the sets are up here, like the big, I just was thinking of it because I saw it the other day, Westworld shoots up here. So things like that is, it was shocking to me because I went online. I said, well, I should be in the film festival where I live. And I was shocked to find that there wasn't one. And wow. Yes. And so I thought, well, no, I must be doing something wrong. So I actually went on to GoDaddy and I just started looking for all versions of the domain, and they were all available. So over the course of an hour, I bought every single version that I could find.
Wow.
And just sat there and said, well, what am I going to do with it? So I literally thought, well, let me just start by doing something small. It'll be a small little festival that will kind of gain some momentum. And year one, I mean, much as you said, you know, we had 170 plus films on site. We had an online festival for, you know, again, those who couldn't be here, you know, because one of our missions really is to be that next independent festival, you know, like the Sundance used to be, like South by Southwest used to be. But if you're an independent filmmaker right now, you're locked out of those, right? Like there's just no access. If you're an independent filmmaker, when you hear people talk about, you know, a $3 million budget, that's not an independent, right? Like an independent is, I've got a camera, I've got 2 people and some lights, and, you know,
and a smartphone.
And a smartphone, right? It's about creativity. It's about how you solve things without a big budget. It's like, how do you make this come together? And, you know, and it's like, oh, I don't have a dolly. Well, I'm going to strap my cameraman to a wheelchair and I'm going to run him down and shoot an action scene, right? Like that's
a creative one. I like that.
Right. So that's the independent spirit, right? And it's so hard nowadays. You see so many talented writers and directors out there. They can't break in because they don't have a named actor attached, or they don't have this huge budget. And so, you know, the first big goal for SCIFF is really to build that platform again, right? Like, and this hasn't been done in, you know, 40 years, if you think about it, right? And what makes it so amazing in Santa Clarita is it's the only space in Los Angeles that has the land and to support it. And where we're having it this year is actually going to be in downtown Newhall. And for those of you who don't know the area, it's very cute. There's a main street, it's walkable, just mom and pop stores. It's very Americana, you know, all types of people, all types of races, all, you know, that live here. It's a wonderful melting pot. You know, 3rd largest city in Los Angeles County, by the way, you know.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, most people didn't know that. So 3rd largest, 18th fastest growing in the country. So
wow.
You know, this is an integral part of, you know, year one. A lot of people started taking notice and said, okay, if this is done right, this is a big part of what is going to be the future of Santa Clarita, where you do have, you know, a 7-day festival with, you know, 7,000 people here, all, you know, every hotel booked. So there's some real implications for the city. There's some real implications for the people who live here and work here, the businesses that you know, basically thrive here. So those are all things that you know, we consider, and that's part of our mission that we support and we want to give back.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned about something like, you know, we're the first in 40 years, you know, to open up the festival. Are you talking about the first, you know, film festival to open like 40 years, like a South by Southwest, Sundance, and everything like that? So I just want to clarify what you said. It's like you guys consider the first in 40 years to open up a fest like that?
I think the first in 40 years that can, because of the location, it's just again, a combination of just the right ingredients, right? The location. I mean, there are a ton of great film festivals out in Los Angeles, obviously, right? I mean, off the top of my head that I can think of, I don't think that they have the actual geographic support. And by that, I mean just the space to really build that kind of, you know, like I said, 7-day conference type of festival, where there's just, you know, a ton of people here, deals are being made, things are being premiered. Santa Clarita, from what I know, is quite frankly, the only place in Los Angeles County that has the space to host something like that. So, you know, when we say that, we talk about kind of the grandiose or the grand goal of what we're building towards, right? Also because, and you know, this is just going to happen with time, is really striving to be that place where, you know, the next Kevin Smith gets discovered, right? Or the next kind of that next great independent artist who made their movie for, you know, $25,000, $100,000 gets discovered. And that producers and distributors know this is where you come if you want to find that. And having that brand where, you know, independent artists know this is where I have to be, and that the people who are looking at my films really don't care about my budget. They don't care about the actors that I had. What they care about is the story and my production quality. And they will give me fair weighting against any other big budget movie that's also in there, right? I will be side by side, and I will have my time, and I will have my platform.
That's
so
really okay. I was just going to ask you as
no,
well,
ahead,
too, before you go on too. And you mentioned about the South by Southwest, the Sundance, and the Tribeca as well too. They have their ways of getting opening and notice. And how does that differ from, you know, like with your opening compared to South by Southwest, Sundance, and Tribeca and all that?
Great question. So obviously we still have to build up our brand, but like last year, even for our inaugural, we had an amazing opening movie called Fire Boys, which was about, you know, it was a documentary about kind of the prison systems and these, you know, underprivileged youth that end up in these systems, and then are made to kind of work off their term by, you know, being on the front lines of what are raging wildfires now in California, because we do have a climate issue, right? That's in play. And so, you know, it was a great conversation on prison reform and socioeconomic status in this country and climate change. And that was year one. Year two, we've got On Sacred Ground, which is opening for us. And that is stars William Mapother, David Arquette, Mariel Hemingway, Amy Smart. And it's about the Dakota Pipeline. And so, you know, and again, another strong showing for our opening night this year with some, you know, heavy hitters behind it. And I expect that every year it's just going to go up and up and up and up. And, you know, we will get the studios starting to look and say, hey, granted, again, we want to be known as that independent platform, but, you know, getting the independent studios coming out and saying, hey, we want to premiere our film at opening night or closing night with our awards ceremony. So, you know, for example, our closing ceremony this year, the film we have is directed by Harold Zwart, and he actually did One Night at McCool's. So, you know, he did the Pink Panther redo. He did the Karate Kid redo. So,
oh wow,
know,
okay,
yeah,
my two favorites, yes, Pink Panther and Karate Kid.
well-known people are starting to step up. And the other thing too is we've been talking a lot about film, but you know, we are also doing a music program. So we have music happening at the same time. We have a comedy program that's happening at the same time. And we have a visual arts program that's happening at the same time. All of those are spinning in and around Newhall. You know, and so you can stop in. We're going to be having our our music program and our comedy program at the local restaurants and bars all along Main Street. So you can stop in and you can, you know, eat, you can hang out, you can go watch a movie, you can come over, you can listen to some comedy at, you know, at one of the restaurants, go down and listen to some music in another restaurant. So it's kind of this really great user, you know, or attendee experience, if you will, that we're also trying to create, and then support our local businesses by being there, right? Because we'll have people coming through. Last year in a pandemic, we had 1,300 people for year one.
Wow.
So, you know, this year, I highly suspect we're going to be double, if not more, because we also do have the community just rallying around this and starting to just, you know, Chamber of Commerce, right, is part of this, city's part of this now, where they are just stepping up and saying, you know, what do you need? How do we make it happen? How do we get people, you know, how do we get people there? And so I expect the turnout to be significant this year.
And it sounds really significant as well, too. Some of the musical acts, the comedy acts, and other things about the SCIFF Fest. We'll talk more about that with Lisa DeSouza, but first listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@SonicWebStudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews, and Eve Levin enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Casting, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today of Virgo's Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 40 podcast platforms, heard in over 100 countries, also on hamiltonradio.net, Diamonds FM, Oldies Radio, and a few networks coming soon. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok today. For great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/me and Molson Zia for great books, merchandise, and more. Also support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com. Make sure you give generously today. We're here with founder and executive director of the Santa Clarita International Film Fest, or SCIFF, here on the Mike Wagner Show, Lisa DeSouza. And Lisa, before we talk more about the SCIFF Film Fest, and it sounds like you got a great start on it, being in the film industry and more. Who are some of your favorite actors and directors and writers and producers growing up?
Oh, that's great. So I can actually start with some of my favorite movies. One of my favorite is Children of Men. I think just the writing is phenomenal. The classic non-cut pan shot, right, is legendary. Absolutely phenomenal. Till today, I will sit and I will watch Gladiator every time it comes on.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie. Wow.
So I definitely look at, directors like that and I say, one day, right? I definitely think I'm much more though of a kind of, intense people conversation. I don't know if at any point I would get to like the big budget, blockbusters of those days, but hey, a girl can dream, right? I mean,
That's right. Anybody can dream. I mean, remember that. Anybody can dream. That's right. So yeah. And who are some of the favorite directors growing up? It's like, name off some names, and you like the director from Gladiator, and you also director of whatever movie. Name some directors that you really enjoy and who you're influenced by.
I'm gonna kind of play the gender card a little bit, right? Like I definitely lean towards the women directors too, especially the ones who kind of forged the path. Patty Jenkins in Monster was a huge a director who just stood out for me, and just her work in that movie I think was phenomenal. Not to mention Charlize Theron was just absolutely amazing as an actor in that. And I look at Hurt Locker as well, and I don't know why I'm blanking on her name right now, but another just woman who should not be directing war movies, right? Like that's not a woman's role, and yet she did a phenomenal job in that. So when I look at directors, I really do look at kind of like women directors. Just again, as a girl growing up, it's like that's who I want to be, right? I'll be honest, I never thought directing was going to be something that I would just fall into, but now that I am, and it's that those are the people that I'd like to be a rule breaker. I'd like to be the person who kind of pushes the boundaries. And now you've got amazing women directors all over the place who are doing amazing work. And, it's just, so now it's, they set the stage for all of us to come. So I'm with the rest of the pack, but, still, those are the folks that I look to that I think really kind of move the needle.
Mm-hmm. And also getting back to the SCIFF Film Fest as well, too. You've had 170 of the films as well, too. You had one on prison reform. You also had one on the pandemic and everything else. And how about some of the other ones that are making the mark or have made their mark, when it comes to the SCIFF Fest as well, too, that's getting something right. Prison reform, you had the pandemic, you had some other things, maybe some other groundbreaking subjects that has never been mentioned in Hollywood or anywhere in the industry.
Well, actually, this year we're really pushing the boundaries. Last year we had some great, don't get me wrong. In fact, some of our larger features actually got distribution through which we never expected. We just connected the dots, and and that was phenomenal. Definitely I've seen some shorts where I was just in awe of the camera work and the makeup and the storyline besides that, but just the production value, and these are independents, they're shorts, it's amazing if you think about it. So, but this year, what I'm really kind of pushing the needle on is exactly what we talked about. There's more kind of stories that push the kind of the zeitgeist, for lack of a better word, right? And two of those off the top of my head that we're actually partnering with two nonprofits as well. One is about, it's called On Crushed Wings, and it's about female genital mutilation, which still happens in so many countries. And I know it's not a pretty subject to talk about, but, the Zonta Club, our local chapter, is actually going to be doing a panel during it and talk, because they support a lot of women's movements and women's education, especially in third world countries where this still happens. Those are kind of the powerhouse movies that we have on the docket. We have another one about African-American surfers. And
that's an interesting one. I like that. African-American surfers. Yeah, man.
and it goes back to, they have historians, they have, a lot of the folks interviewed are people who talk about how it actually was a very big part of their culture. They actually, interestingly enough, also interviewed or cover the folks from Bruce's Beach. And I don't know if you know that story. It's down in Southern California, but it was an African-American family that went and bought, I think it was in Manhattan Beach, they bought a piece of land right on the beach. And basically the county said, no, you can't be here. We're going to take it eminent domain. And it's their ancestors and their family have been fighting this for years. And I think literally a month ago, the city handed it back to the family. And so that's in there as well. So that movie, for example, we're going to be partnering up with our local NAACP chapter, and they're going to be having a panel as well. So, I think you see the trend, like with some of these thought-provoking movies, there's also, we bring in kind of the local organizations that support these movements on a grassroots level, so that, it's not just about the movie, but like I said, it's about the movement, right? And again, that's all our commitment in SCIFF, where it's not just about, we show great movies, but we also talk about really important subjects.
Mm-hmm. And also too, you also have some comedy acts, music acts as well too. And tell us about some of the music and comedy acts you have in the past, and also some coming up as well too.
Yeah, we've had, again, last year was a little bit of a soft launch. This year is actually going to be a paid program. So if you want access to some of these folks, you're going to have to go in. But we had everything last year, from ska and to punk to blues, Christian rock band, a local choir that's won awards. And so again, we try to support all the genres of music. This year program's still in play. So we don't have names yet that we can potentially announce. But, again, I suspect with it happening in and around, Main Street in these different restaurants and these establishments, like I said, I think we had 30 or 40 last year. I suspect they're going to be significantly more, because you figure you can we had one stage, and we actually, last year, we programmed our comedy and our music together. Well, now we have potentially 3 or 4. So, the volume becomes a lot more in terms of just, again, what we can support. And it's all types of genres. It does not matter, much like film, where we said, if you have a story to tell us, we're interested. In music, it's, if you have a voice that needs to be heard, we have a platform for you, right? And so come on down, submit, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to get you on stage. We'd love to hear you, quite frankly. Same thing for comedy. Our MC last year was Fritz Coleman, who's kind of a local, well-known comedian in Southern California. He was also a weatherman for one of our local channels before he retired, and then he pretty much is doing this full time now. And so he was our MC, and we were super grateful for him doing that for us. This year it's Kermit Aptio, I think, if I'm saying his name correctly. He's probably going to kill me. But really well-known comedian who's doing our opening night again. We've got a well-known reporter from our local KTLA station, I believe it's KTLA, who's actually going to be emceeing our closing night ceremony. We're still trying to work on our opening night for the comedy program, like who that is going to be. But again, it's Southern California. You have access to a lot of great people here, and you'll be surprised. The one thing that I am, really, really shocked about is there's a hunger, even at like a very high level. There is absolutely a hunger for supporting the arts, right? Because I think a lot of people, even after they've made it, right, are artists at heart. They remember the struggle. They remember how difficult it was. And so the ability for them to come and support what, again, this independent platform, right, where art, something that is true to the artist's voice. I am shocked, and quite frankly, all of us are just honored, right? That folks of these caliber would say, we're going to give our time. Don't worry about it. We know you're super small. We know that you're in year 2. You don't have the budget of like a Sundance and a South by Southwest. So we'll come and we'll give our time. Fritz Coleman did that. Can't thank him highly enough for that, and there's more people stepping up right now that are, potentially saying, we got you because we believe in what this is. We believe in what it can be. So
that's rather interesting too, and encouraging people to sign up for comedy, sign up for music. What about getting into the films? If you're a film director, how does one submit the films to the film fest?
So we go through Film Freeway. So it's Film Freeway /SCIFF, SCIFF. You can go submit there. If you have any questions, you can also email contact@skiff.org. I should mention we are a nonprofit. So, also, again, we have bills to pay. Donations are always appreciated. Sponsorships are available too, if anybody's interested. But yeah, at the end of the day, contact@skiff, SCIFF.org. Or you can for filmmakers at least, go to filmfreeway.com/SCIFF and you'll find us.
We'll certainly do so. What's coming up for Lisa DeSouza and SCIFF? We'll find out just 1 minute. You're listening to The Mike Widener Show at the MikeWidenerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor, The Mike Widener Show, international warring author Mia Molson's The Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with the founder and executive director of the Santa Clarita International Film Fest, or SCIFF, Lisa DeSouza, after this timeout. We're back with the amazing founder, executive director of SCIFF, the Santa Clarita International Film Fest, Lisa DeSouza here on the Mike Widener Show. And you cover a lot of ground and providing great opportunity for Santa Clarita, the Film Fest, and a lot more, providing all the great things that's out there. And what else can we expect from you guys in 2022 and beyond, Lisa?
Well, one of the things that we'd like to, so there's a couple of things, right? Like I said, the music and the comedy this year, it's all about our community. Community is a big part of our mission and our values. So, we want to support the community by really integrating, this wonderful kind of walking tour in and around Main Street in Newhall. And a lot of also the mom and pop stores, times are tough. And year 1, a lot of them stepped up and they gave us, our cheapest sponsorship was $250. And a lot of them in and around Newhall, stepped up to help support us. And so we want to do that in return. That's a big part of what we want to do. But community is a big a big part, again, like I said, of our mission. And so, for us, it's about growing this, and supporting the community, and helping all the community grow. It is absolutely about, again, getting great quality films. This time last year, I'm trying to think, I think we had a total of 200 submissions total. This year, I just checked actually right before we logged on, and we're already at 105, and our early bird just finished. So again, just real strong quality. We've talked about some of the films that are in there. They're not pretty subjects sometimes, but they are, they're powerful. So really, really impressed with what's coming down the pipe. Easily expect that our numbers are going to be a lot more. Last year we kind of tried to split ourselves up a little bit. This year we are, like I said, in and around Newhall. The film program is going to be helmed at the Laemmle. It's the brand new Laemmle Theater in Santa Clarita. And then, like I said, then we'll have our visual arts program, which we're actually partnering with the Santa Clarita Artists Association. So they will be setting up a gallery for all the painters, sculptors, things of that nature. And it's going to be a kind of across the street, but again, all walkable. Park your car, come walk, right? Have some fun in a beautiful Southern California December night. And then, like I said, music, still work in progress, TBD, but music and comedy. Actually thinking about maybe getting some slam poetry in there if we can.
That's something we love to check out. That's been a while. Slam poetry. Very
That's
nice.
right. But the question is, how do you find it? I know they're out there, right? But how do we get, slam poetry in there? I mean, I think the spoken word is just, and the way they do it and they deliver is just amazing. So would love to try to get some, that's a goal. Let's see if we get there. And then the one thing we didn't talk about, right, is we have an online film program that is running at the same time. Again, our commitment to the independent means that most independents don't have the budget to jump on a plane and get a hotel and food and all of that. So if you can't be there, that's fine. Join our online program. We're screening at the same time online as we are screening, in our quote unquote brick and mortar. We have a gentleman who actually interviews you, much like you do on a Zoom call. We put those interviews up so that, the filmmakers get some exposure. It's on our website. It's on our Facebook page as well. Again, it's all about support. It's about giving back. We cross tag them and they get to see themselves up there and promote it. And we have the full, we have the step and repeats, we have the red carpets, and, it's really nice to see the filmmakers just sitting there taking their pictures, and they're just so proud of what they've done, and they should be, right? I mean, it's blood, sweat, and tears that goes into these things. And we're here for them. That's what we're here for.
And you're doing a great job as well, Lisa. And who do you consider your biggest influence in your career?
So that's a great question. I think life has a way of influencing you. There's this great book that I read a couple of years ago called The Second Mountain. And it talks about, I had a couple kind of like family tragedies happen. And, I came to LA and I probably had that same arrogance that most people in LA do. And, was focused on the career and focused on kind of honestly the wrong things. And like I said, a couple of really big family tragedies, and it gives you some perspective, and it really gives you an understanding of what's important. And for me, it was living my authentic life, living true to who I was, partly finding out who that was too, right? Because I was caught up in fashion, I was caught up in tech, I was caught up in industry, and those things are things that you can really lose your way really fast if you're not careful. And so I had to find my North Star, and Santa Clarita was a big part of that. The ability to just pull back, go live on a ranch, live in nature, take my dogs for a walk every day, see the hawks overhead and even the rattlesnakes on the ground, and just really just breathe, I think, right? And so in that, I think in that transformation that happened, the Second Mountain talks about, your first mountain is all about conquest. Me, I, what did I accomplish? And in that second mountain, it switches to we and us,
interesting.
and service. And I think, when I look at, again, I thought this was going to be something small, and already, we haven't even hit year 2, and it's just, it's exploding. And it's almost, there are times that I sit back and I just think to myself, wow, right? Like what is this going to be in a couple of years? At the rate we're going, but it's because of the people at the end of the day, right? It's about the artists that are stepping up. It's about the community. And at the end of the day, when I look at things that, why this is taking off the way it is because I really do believe it's not about me, it's about we.
That is fascinating. I really like that. I love that perspective. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
In this crazy world we live in, breathe. If it isn't life or death, it is not that serious. As my grandmother used to say to me, this too shall pass.
Yes.
And, again, all I can say is, find out who you are, be true to that, and don't be apologetic for that. We live in a world, unfortunately, especially with social media and just the way things are, we're always told that we're just not good enough. And at the end of the day, you know what? If you really find who you are, you will find people who like you for who you are. And you just be you, and it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
And I think that's great advice as well, too, in today's times in social media. We're here with the founder and executive director of the Santa Clarita International Film Fest, or SCIFF, Lisa DeSouza here on Mike Wagner Show. Lisa, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot from you. And looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people, purchase sponsorships or check tickets, check out the film fest opportunities and more? And how can people get a hold of you, website and more?
Website is super simple, SCIFF.org. We have sponsorships. Our sponsorships are up there. They're from last year, and we're pretty much keeping those the same. So if you just want to go check it out and see what they cost, like I said, our cheapest sponsorship is sponsor a screening block, $250. You get your logo on the screen as people are walking in and out. You get your logo on the screen as the filmmaker Q&A is happening. And then of course we go up significantly after that. We're also a nonprofit, so you can donate to us and get a tax write-off if you want. But SCIFF, SCIFF.org, or if you don't find what you're looking for, shoot us an email, contact@skiff.org. Year 2, December 8th through the 11th, 2022 in Santa Clarita, California. In particular, in Newhall, right in and around Main Street. We expect it to be bigger and better than it was in our inaugural year, if I can say that correctly. So come join us, be there. We'll see you, and hopefully we'll take some pictures and put you on our social media page, and you guys will help us with the journey. And we can't thank you enough. So
sounds good. We will do so. Once again, Lisa, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Make sure you keep us up to date, keep in touch. Love to have you back. We wish you all the best. And Lisa, you definitely have a great future ahead.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.